Gohan is one of Dragon Ball Z's most popular characters, who very controversially took over as the series MC for a point in time. And due to the disapproval from many fans of this choice, it was later taken back due to a bunch of things to happen in the Buu saga. One of those being Gohan's fight against Dabura, which is often considered a big disappointment from fans due to Gohan's performance after emphasizing his lack of training over the 7-year time skip. In this video, I'll be breaking Gohan's fight with Dabura down hit for hit to analyze how well Gohan did in this fight in his current state. For those of you who watch combat sports, then you all know about the 10-point scoring system, which I'll be using in this video. But for those of you who don't know, as we score each round, the winner and loser's points will be split between 10 to 9, although a round can go to 10 to 8 if things really get bad for the other fighter. And at the end of the fight, I'll show you guys the full scores from the fight and go break things down round by round. But an important thing to remember is that it's not always the deciding factor if someone gets taken out before that final bell rings. This fight will be scheduled for 3 rounds. If you're new to the channel and want to see more Dragon Ball content from myself, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave ideas for future content down below. Right away, Gohan wastes no time and charges up into Super Saiyan. Just remember, in his current state, he currently cannot go Super Saiyan 2. Dabura came into this fight pretty confidently at the start, but after feeling the surge of energy from Gohan when he went into Super Saiyan, I don't know about that anymore. Gohan then moves so fast that Dabura couldn't even track him in that instance, and immediately, Gohan comes right in front and just lands an insane uppercut on Dabura. This is such a significant way to start off the fight. Gohan then throws a cross and punches straight through Dabura. Dabura is sent in the air from this punch, and while Dabura's traveling through the air, Gohan moves right behind Dabura, and Gohan backflips into a kick, which pushes Dabura straight into the ground. And while Dabura's down, Gohan fires another ki blast to try and just finish off the job. Now Gohan looks down at the ground and notices that something's up. Something's just not quite right. As Gohan notices what's about to happen, Dabura appears right behind Gohan. Dabura throws a punch at Gohan, and Gohan turns around and catches Dabura's punch midair. And what Gohan specifically does is he actually catches Dabura's punch really fast, as he's able to actually stop Dabura's punch by grabbing his wrist. So he clearly reacted to this punch ahead of time to be able to do that. Gohan then gives Dabura this cocky smile, but in my opinion, he has nothing to be smiling about like this, because he needs to focus on what's ahead of him. As you can tell, Gohan has a hold of Dabura's wrist with his right hand. So that means that Dabura has complete access to the right side of Gohan's body because it's currently a hold of Dabura. And Dabura takes advantage of this, landing a cross and then landing an uppercut, and then right afterwards landing a knee on Gohan as well. Gohan then tries to throw a cross of his own, but Dabura is able to block it. Gohan and Dabura actually reset right afterwards, and they both land back on the ground, specifically to charge up their power further. Dabura then charges in at Gohan, but it's actually Gohan who throws the first punch in this exchange, and Dabura catches it. And right away, Dabura throws his own strike, which Gohan is actually able to block. And it's really fast, and if I didn't slow it down, I bet a lot of you guys would miss that. Now, we see Gohan and Dabura moved around again, and we see that Dabura actually managed to get behind Gohan. I think you could definitely see this as Dabura outsped Gohan. In my opinion, though, I think what happened was Dabura actually was able to predict where Gohan was going to move to, so that way he can move to the spot right behind him. And then we see Dabura prepare to throw a punch. He's about to throw a hammer fist at Gohan, and what Gohan does is he punches Dabura's elbow and stops him, keeping his arm in place before he fully extends out his arm, and he's able to jam Dabura's punch. Gohan and Dabura move around again, and this time Gohan throws a front kick at Dabura, but Dabura is able to dodge it. Now Gohan and Dabura enter this insane exchange of clashes. They both charge at each other, they both throw a punch, clash out, they then both throw a strike with their elbows, clash out, they then hit each other again, they clash out, they then both throw strikes with their knees, clash out, and then right afterwards, Gohan is actually now able to kick Dabura in the face, being the first one to land a strike in this encounter. Gohan's kick sent Dabura straight to the ground, but Dabura immediately got up. Gohan then wastes no time and immediately comes at Dabura again, but Dabura is actually able to dodge this strike from Gohan. Then Dabura actually uses his magic to be able to breathe out fire, and he does this to pressure Gohan and to create space between him and Gohan, but Gohan is able to actually get through Dabura's magic and goes straight at Dabura. But the problem is, Gohan actually ends up going for Dabura's after image, and he goes right through him. Dabura then takes advantage of Gohan being so distracted and fires another magic-based attack, and Gohan actually tries to block it, but he gets overpowered and it sends him straight to the floor. Matter of fact, it gets worse for Gohan because once he hits the floor, more, he still continues to be flying all over the place and ends up going straight through the water. Now, as you can see for round 1, I have it scored a 10-9 in favor of Gohan. To be fair, he is the only one in this fight that really landed a strike of some level of significance. And what I mean is, every single strike that Dabura lands on Gohan, Gohan is able to shake off immediately. And to be fair, every other punch from Gohan, Dabura is able to do the same. But right off the bat, Gohan landed that insane shot on Dabura for his first punch of the fight. And I said earlier that that's such an important way to start off the fight, because strikes like that, when you look at the round as a whole, can just give you the edge. Whenever Gohan and Dabura are in an exchange and neither one are able to land a shot on each other, the one who's able to break that pattern of them both just clashing out is Gohan. You see that with that one kick that he threw. I also think that Gohan is just in more control of this round. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Look at this encounter right here, where Dabura charges in at Gohan, and we see Gohan being the one to throw the first punch, now forcing Dabura, the one who initially charged in, initiating this encounter on defense. I actually do think this round was kind of close. I don't think it was close enough to change who could have won this round. I think Gohan will always take this round. I think that Dabura was actually able to put up a solid fight in this round. You do see him consistently being able to clash out with Gohan. He's able to pressure him with his magic-based attacks, and also he's able to get Gohan to drop his guard and be able to take advantage of the situation very well for his next attack. And also, his last attack of the round, I also think was very important, as not only was he able to just knock Gohan off the battlefield, I think he was able to do a good bit of damage there, and I think that is a good way to end the round for sure, but I don't think it's specifically enough to change everything Gohan did, granting you the 10-9. As of right now, Gohan is under the water, and Dabura is literally waiting for him up on the surface. The guy is literally spawn camping. While underwater, Gohan fires out a few ki blasts to try and distract Dabura and keep him on his toes. Meanwhile, Gohan is planning on coming up to the surface from a different direction, but Dabura is casually able to smack these ki blasts away and actually predicted where Gohan was going to come up from and fires an attack at Gohan, forcing him to block as he comes up to the surface. Now, Dabura and Gohan are moving all around the battlefield, exchanging blows, but none seem to be able to land on anybody, and it seems that they are clashing out. Gohan and Dabura actually move around again, and this time, Gohan's actually able to get behind Dabura and goes to throw a punch. But what I think is actually a bit more impressive is the fact that Dabura realized that Gohan was behind him and is able to completely turn around and then throw a punch of his own and have that punch connect on Gohan at the same time that Gohan's punch hits him. Gohan and Dabura then hit each other again, and this exchange leads them to reset. Dabura then gives his back to Gohan, and Gohan tries to take advantage of this by charging straight at Dabura. But while Gohan is coming at Dabura, something stops him in the way. Dabura shot out one of his attacks that lands on Gohan's glove, which was the specific magic powers that turns whatever the attack makes contact with into stone. Dabura throws a punch at Gohan, which Gohan blocks. Gohan then follows up with a punch of his own, and Dabura is able to block it. Afterwards, Dabura follows up with a kick, which Gohan is actually able to dodge. Gohan then throws a kick at Dabura, which Dabura is able to block, and Dabura is able to follow up, punching Gohan in the face. And from here, the two reset again. In my opinion, I don't think this punch from Dabura was too significant, because Gohan was kind of just very casual about it right afterwards, and they just casually reset. But if you do think that a punch forcing Gohan to reset is some insane indication of damage, then score that as you will. Gohan then flies straight at Dabura and punches him in the face. While this punch does send Dabura back a bit, he quickly is able to recover and then equips his sword. Dabura charges in with his sword and performs a downward strike on Gohan, and Gohan dodges this. Now, Gohan is able to dodge this at the literal last second. I mean, we see when he first reacts to the swing, and you see how completely in shock Gohan is, and also we know that Gohan was fast enough to move away before Dabura can actually hit like a vital spot or even cut his skin. But we do see that Dabura did cut off a couple of strands of Gohan's hair. Gohan and Dabura reset again, and now Dabura comes in straight at Gohan. Dabura is kind of just flying at him, but he is forcing Gohan to go on the back foot and in a way sort of retreat back. Dabura swings his sword at Gohan, and Gohan is able to dodge it and is able to create a good bit of space between him and Dabura. Dabura then throws a combination of swings at Gohan, and Dabura is not able to land a single one of these strikes. Dabura then swings again, and Gohan is just able to dodge, dropping down before the sword hits him. Dabura then swings again, and Gohan is able to kick it away. Gohan Gohan then wastes no time and is able to knee Dabura in the face, but Dabura is fine and immediately chases after Gohan, swinging his sword a bunch of times. Now, Dabura just backed Gohan into a corner, and he swings his sword twice. Gohan is able to react and just barely move away from the sword, and then Dabura forces Gohan to drop to the ground in order to dodge this next swing, which completely takes out a huge chunk of the mountain behind him. Dabura then comes at Gohan again, and this time while midair, he drops down to the ground, sending an insane downward strike, gaining so much momentum and also just having full range of motion of that downward swing. Gohan is able to catch the sword in his hands, and even though Gohan was resisting Dabura's force for quite a long time, he does manage to break the sword. And then it's after this that the fight ends, and then Dabura requests Babidi to take him back to the other part of the ship, which just ends the fight. I'm going to leave the decision for this round till a bit later because I feel there are a few things we need to discuss beforehand, but here are the stats for round 2 of this fight. For starters, Dabura was in way more control over the round, and we also see how well he's able to anticipate what Gohan was going to do in the fight. Right as Gohan tries to escape the water, Dabura easily saw through what Gohan was trying to do with his ki blast and fires his own attack where Gohan was going to come up from, as he does come up from that point. Also, Goku notes as well in this fight how Gohan's attack pattern in this round clearly isn't working anymore, and how easily Dabura will be able to read through Gohan's movements, which is a result of Gohan's battle senses rusting, according to Vegeta. Dabura also uses his magic abilities very well right here, where he lures Gohan into him to use them to his advantage, which is also a very good example of Dabura's control in this round. Throughout this fight as well, we see a lot more of Dabura forcing Gohan on defense, especially when he starts to fight Gohan with his sword, where he is constantly forcing Gohan on the back foot, which is a drastic change from round 1. Dabura now is the one who's able to land some solid shots on Gohan, as throughout their many exchanges of both failing to hit each other, Dabura is now the one who's able to break this pattern and hit Gohan, unlike in the first round. Now, don't get things mixed up. Although I obviously think Gohan did way worse in this round compared to the first, I don't think Gohan gave a bad performance by any means. Gohan is able to match Dabura throughout these exchanges on screen, and really makes Dabura have to work to hit him when he does chase him down, which is clearly why he starts to use his sword, as he needs that range in the close quarter side of the fight. And Gohan breaking Dabura's sword is definitely a very significant moment in the round for sure, as that is just a part of his arsenal that Dabura now cannot use. And he does do a very good job on defense, making sure Dabura does not land any of those many swings that try to cut him. Now, here we have everything added up on screen from this fight that lasted 2 of 3 rounds. And what I want to address now is what the decision is for the fight. If we were to ignore the specific outcome of this fight and we just focus on the actual fighting that occurs in this fight, let's say we were to say that at the end of what I already covered, the bell rang, both Gohan and Dabura went back to their corners and the fight ended. I'd give round 2 to Dabura purely based off performance. And I think you could also say too that Dabura's round 2 was way better than Gohan's round 1. But we can't just ignore how things ended. That would be silly. Dabura's head clearly wasn't in the fight. Not that he was conflicted or anything to prevent him from being at his best, but it's just he doesn't care too much about beating Gohan, which is why he's very casual with literally running away from the fight despite his performance. I think because of this, you do have to give the win by default to Gohan. I think Dabura could have won if he continued to fight, but if this were a UFC fight, let's say, where the fighter were to just try and leave the cage, then the ref would just end it and declare it a TKO as a form of quitting, which is what Dabura has done here. If you want to see me do this again with other fights, please let me know which down in the comment section below for future videos.